All right, what's up everybody? So today I'm going to show you how to install and run Faircamp on a Windows computer so that you can quickly create and edit your own music streaming website. The Faircamp tool is what's called a static site generator. What this means is that it's a tool that takes all of your input files, in this case your audio files, and then it spits out all the contents you need for a fully working website. If the concept isn't clear right away, it should be clear by the end of the video. In this video, we're going to be using the Windows command line. If you're not familiar or comfortable with using this tool, don't worry, because I'm going to walk you through each step of the process carefully and thoroughly so that there's as little room for confusion as possible. In the first part of the video, we're going to be going through the installation and the setup. If you're watching this video to remember how to make edits to your site, I'll mark a chapter in the video so you can just skip ahead to the customization tutorial. Usually I don't work on Windows computers, so I apologize if some parts of this tutorial are riddled with stops and pauses, but we're going to work through it together, and hopefully we're going to get from point A to point B, creating your first Faircamp site. If you have any questions, you can hit the support email that I will link in the description, or you can also check out the official documentation at simonrep.com. But yeah, without further ado, let's just jump in and get started with Windows. So the first thing we're going to do is install VSCode. So I'm going to open this up, throw my browser over here. We're going to download the Windows version. Let it download. And then once it downloads, we can open it up. Accept the user agreement, hit next, next, and install. So this will install Visual Studio Code. Okay, once it's done, it'll give you the option to launch it. So I'll just hit finish and it should open up. I'm gonna put this over here. Cool, so now we have Visual Studio Code. So the next step will be to install Faircamp. So we can just go to simonrep.com/faircamp/download. So I'll open that up. And here we will download the Windows installer. And this will download. By the way, if you want to see the Windows tutorial that Simon has made, you can go to the tutorial and Windows section here in case there's anything missing from this video. Hopefully there's not, but just letting you know. So once this is done downloading, we can open up the executable. Windows might warn you that it's an unrecognized app, but you can just go to more info and then run anyway. And this will start it up. Hit yes. And then we'll go to the Faircamp setup. So it says here, Faircamp is not a graphical application. So that's what makes it kind of difficult to use, but we will walk through that in the tutorial. So we just hit next, I hit I agree, next, and install. And this will install Faircamp. So now we are going to start building our site. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to move our audio files into place. So what I'll do first is I'm going to create a folder for our project. So I'll go to my documents folder and I'm going to create a new folder here called Faircamp Demo. Oops. Faircamp Demo. And this folder can be named anything. And then I'm going to open this folder in VSCode. Documents. Open my Faircamp Demo folder. Oops, wait. Open folder, there we go. Okay. And now we have a blank slate for us to get started working in. So I have an example already spun up here, but you don't have to pay attention to what's on the left here. We're gonna build it from scratch on the right. So the first thing we wanna do is create a catalog folder. And that's catalog with a capital C. And then inside of our catalog folder, we're going to create new folders for each EP or album or single that we have. So in my instance, I have this project called bike lane. So I'm going to create a folder here called bike lane. And then in the bike lane folder, I'm going to place my audio files as well as my cover image here. So once that is in place, that's actually all you have to do. The next step that we will walk through is writing the config. So if you notice here in my example, I have this .eno file. So what this file does is it describes to Faircamp the contents of your site. This is like the metadata and any information that's used to sort or describe your release to viewers of the website. So we need to create these files in our project. So we have a release.eno file here for our bike lane release. So I'll create a new file here called release.eno and make sure that it's in the bike lane folder. And I'll open up my example here. There's some customization here, but I'm just gonna take the necessary pieces, which is the title, and the date. The date is important because it'll determine the order of the projects on the website. Now we can save this file and we can create our second eno file, which is the catalog.eno. This describes the top layer information of your site. So I'll just open up my example. Again, I'll take the important pieces. So we have the title, which is our artist name. And that's actually it. Yeah, and I'll save this. Okay. So now at this point, we have everything we need to move on to our first build. So what we're gonna do is in VS Code, we'll click these three dots up here and we'll go to the terminal tab. We'll click new terminal. This will open a command line prompt in our project folder. So here we can type Faircamp -- preview. What this will do is it'll convert our audio files to a more streaming compatible format, which is optional, by the way. And then it'll open up our preview of our website. So you can see here, at the moment it's very bare bones, but it is a functional streaming website. So we have our artist name here. We can click on our release and we can see that there is a audio player here, like you might see on Bandcamp. So users can come to your site and listen to your music. They can also download your music, which we haven't configured yet here, which is why it's missing, but I'll show you an example a little later. So now that we've done our first build of our website, let's add some customization. I'm gonna go back to VS Code and I'm gonna run the command Faircamp preview, but I'm also gonna add this flag theming widget. So what this does is it opens up our preview again, but it also opens up this series of sliders, which we can use to customize the theme. So there's a dark and light mode. There's also color configuration, which you can play with this on your own, as well as the accents, which is like this, subtext and things like that. And when you move these knobs around, it will spit out this text block here that shows the theme configuration. So what you can do is you can actually copy this whole block and then you can paste it into your catalog.eno file. So once I save this file and then rebuild my site, I can remove the theming widget here. You'll see that the theme actually sticks around, which is pretty cool. If I want to customize it even further, I can add a background image or a custom font. So what I'm going to do to do that is I will make I'll make a folder here called static. And in my static folder, I'm going to put a background image and a font. So you'll notice that the font is this .waf format. If you have a font of another format like TTF, you can go and search for TTF to WAF and find a converter online. And this will work just fine for converting your font to an appropriate format for Faircamp. So once I have these here, I will open up my example. I just have to add references to them in my theme. So I'll copy this here. This just says the background image is in the static folder and it's called bg.png, like so. And the custom font in the static folder, and it's this font, .waf. I'll hit Control-C to stop the server and then restart it. And then, oops, I save the file. And then you will see that our customizations appear. So you can also change the background alpha so this shows up a bit more. And yeah. So at this point, you have created a Faircamp site, done an initial build, and also customize it. I'm going to give you 2 more important steps to wrap up your website creation and get ready to host it. So the first thing is I'm going to show you my personal site. Go.diamonds. So you can see here, I have a banner, which is an additional image. I have this little synopsis per project. I even have, links for collabs or an additional description here that has links to all the homies pages. You can go back. Yeah, you can also check out the downloads. So for a track, you can download them in various formats. You can also hide these behind codes if you want to sell codes, like at a show or something. The other thing I'm going to show you is how to export your site. So in order to create an exportable built version of your site, you're going to run the Faircamp command with no flags. And what it'll do is it'll compile all your site contents and dump them here in this Faircamp build folder. Notice how the Faircamp build folder has a dot in front of it. So depending on your settings, it might hide these files. It's been a while since I used Windows, so I don't remember how this works, but if you go into your search bar and you type hidden files, there's a setting here that allows you to view hidden files and folders. Make sure you have this clicked, because if you have it so that hidden files stay hidden, you'll notice that these files over here appear and disappear. I'm only pointing this out because from what I remember, the dot prefix actually hides files. So if for some reason you're in your project folder here and you don't see this Faircamp build folder, you can just set that setting. Another thing you can do is when you build your site, you can run Faircamp with the build-dir argument and give the name of a folder. And when you run this, you can see here, it spits out the outputs of your site in a new output folder. If you want to see any additional customization options, you can also go to simonrep.com/faircamp/manual and check out the full documentation for the tool. So you can see there's some different walkthroughs here, as well as a full list of options for every Eno file. This includes your catalog, releases, and individual tracks as well. So the next step to get your website live is to host the website. I'm going to put this in a different tutorial video because there's some additional steps that applies to any instance of Faircamp. So I would rather just separate that out. And, if you need to go to the hosting tutorial for any reason, it'll be in its own video. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to hit the support email that I'll put in the video description. You can also check out the Faircamp documentation at simonrep.com. Yeah, have fun with it. I hope that this tutorial was easy to follow. And yeah, as always, thanks for listening.